Right, this is step 1. There's 8 screws. 2 at the bottom, 2 on this side, right here and here, 2 up here, and another one here. I'm going to use this screen as an example. As you can see, there's some nicks in it. So we take those out first. Once you got those screws off, you just slide up, comes out, and now you can see that the screen is pancaked to the LCD. So what you're gonna do is lift up on this side. You see that little whiteness? That's just a like 3mm setup. Let's see if I can hold this here, and you just put some back pressure, but also hold it. So you hold it here at this end and push up on the back end, and then you just lift up, and it should look like this. Now you gotta make sure not to damage the ribbon cable. It is long, as you can tell, so you can go pretty far with it. But what I recommend is, once you get to this point, is disconnect the LCD cable, which is just this bar here. You just take your fingernail, pop it up, and slide out. Lay it down, go to this one, pop up the bar, slide it out. Now at that point you can put this to the side, and now we will focus on this. There is a couple methods to replacing the screen. The new screen is going to look like this. It's going to have the adhesive right here, this white 3mm. Once you take off the screen protector that I have on there, you're going to pick up on that 3mm white strip, and then the adhesive would be active, and then you can seal it. But before you do that, you want to go here, flip this over, and there's a few methods you can use. What I usually do is take a razor blade, go underneath between here like that, and go across the groove in that black area, and go across. Make sure to angle it upwards so you don't scratch the LCD, and you only scratch the touchscreen glass panel, because it's going to get replaced. Now if you don't want to do that method, there's 2 other methods. One, you unclip all these clips right here, these things, clip all the way around, and you remove the frame from the LCD. At that point you're able to take off the glass screen with the blade safely. Or you can do another method I found, which is take this, go underneath here, and just basically pinch away until you get the 3mm little adhesive sticking out, and at that point you can pull it and it will go down the line. I'll send you a photo. Alright, here's that method with the piece sticking out. So once you take this underneath here and start popping it until you get a piece of 3mm sticking out, you just start pulling it, and it'll go all the way down the line up to here, and you got to do it again down this way and this way. So it's 3 times you got to pop out that little piece of 3mm, and it should come off fairly easily. Alright, so this is what came out. It's gonna be a little tough, and you just pull until you get it all out. And now this side's adhesive on one end is clear, so it's able to pull up from that side. But you need to get at least 3 sides before you can actually pull up the screen itself from the LCD. So make sure your blade's clean. Go underneath, do a little flick. Let's see if I can rest this on something. Alright. Sometimes it breaks off. That's fine. Just get a little more from it. one broke off. And if it doesn't work, as in the adhesive doesn't come out, you do the slide method. Make sure to angle it up so you're scratching the glass and not the LCD underneath. As you can see, a little piece came out, which is good. You take that and tug, and that's how you get the top line done. It's a little difficult. It's a little tough on some of these because they're pretty tight, but should be fairly easy to take off afterward. So once you got 3 sides, I always recommend this side, and this side, because it's easier so you don't get interfered by that little cable, which is going to be removed anyways. But find a side that's not cracked and lift up from it. You can use a blade to lift up on it, and with that method, just be really careful that you're not touching the actual LCD panel. And once it comes up, it will look like this. Be extremely careful that you do not get nothing on this, because it will show up when you sandwich it in between. So you grab that to the side. Now you get this, you put this, actually make sure to clean up the gunk. It should just come right up if you just grab it and pull, or you can use your finger. It comes off pretty easily, so the next adhesive can work just fine. When that comes down, you take this, take that off, and then you just take this, take the white strip off, and it will be exposed black adhesive. Then align it up so it sandwiches perfectly where both ribbons are at the bottom. So this is the bottom ribbon on this one, and you want this ribbon sticking out bottom, so it will sandwich like this, corner to corner. Make sure the corners are as neat and tight as you can make it. Alright, so make sure there's no dust. If it is, just blow it a bit. You don't have to get this perfect, the adhesive, just the majority of it. So once you are able to put the screen on, have it lined up, take the screen. I recommend removing the second layer of screen protection just so it doesn't get pitched underneath. Line up your corners, and once corners are all lined up, let it fall gently on it. Press around, make sure that puppy's on there, and you got the screen on there nice and tight, bottom to bottom. Now it's time to assemble it back together. This is an important part. Make sure that when you slide it in, it goes all the way in, and that it doesn't catch on anything. It will catch sometimes. That's just how these ribbons are, because Ford made them pretty cheap. As you can tell, they're just little clips. Make sure they're in all the way on both of them. Make sure they're tight in, and then you press down. Make sure they are tight on there, and then reassemble it. What I recommend is going like this, lining it up so it could just slide in nicely without much work of you playing with the ribbon too much. As you can see, it is not in all the way. It looks like it is, but it's not. There it is. Now it's in all the way. I recommend pushing as you are clipping to make sure that it stays in that position. Very important when it comes to those touchscreens. Gently hold up and then plug it in. Once you got that plugged in, you gently lay this down where the adhesive in the back lines up with it. It's okay to have this thing bulge out a bit. That's just because this is a fresh new cable. It will settle down over time. Make sure the screw holes are lined up so they can screw in. You're gonna have fingerprint marks, that's normal. You can just wipe that off later. Take your metal, slide that over. You can either do this now or after you get the screws for the screen on. Put the screws in there for the screen on these two on the left and right side, or you can just put this on first and install those. Either way works. Once everything is back together, make sure your module is connected back here firmly in there, and then you can test and use it. Hopefully this helps.